Local storage, or DOM storage, as it is often known, is one of the most efficient ways to optimize your web application. Local storage is a web storage API that exists in many browsers, and it provides a mechanism to store key value pairs in the browser. It has about 4 megabytes of storage inside of it. One of the most common real-world example where local storage is actually used is an online game that is very popular that many of you might be aware of, known as Wordle. I have a video where I teach you how to create your very own Wordle game, but in this implementation, I don't actually use local storage, but in the original game, this is where they utilize local storage. Now, in this Wordle game, if you type in a word and then you press enter, the values are stored in a local storage. If you close and reopen the Wordle game on the same device, you'll get the same words you already tried previously. This online game makes perfect use of the local storage tool, and you should probably do the same on your next application. Hello everybody, my name is Skutlo. My job is very simple: make you the best developer you can be with the knowledge I've gathered throughout the years as a full-stack developer. If that sounds like something that you are interested in, then subscribe to my channel and get exclusive access to lit developer content like this. Be sure to like this video if you've learned something new today. In today's video, I'm going to show you why we need to use local storage and how you should implement it in your next web application, and of course, where to find it and how to manipulate it or make use of it. And actually, that's the first thing that we're going to start with. I'm going to show you where exactly you can find this local storage so that you can be aware of the data that is being saved inside of your browser. Okay, so the first thing that you would need to do, of course, let me just put my browser a bit down. You just need to go to your developer tools, more tools, or you can just simply press Ctrl-Shift-I. And then once you're at developer tools, you can there's these options that you have. You have your console. It's probably going to first lead you to your console, but you can just click these double arrows if you're using a Chrome browser, and then you can just click application over here. So just make sure, yes, there we go. And inside of this, you have a couple of things. You have application and then you have storage. Now, session storage is something else that we're going to be probably talking about in the next video, and we're also going to talk about cookies as well. But for this video, I'm going to be putting more emphasis on local storage. So the New York Times game, or this Wordle game that we're seeing here, has a couple of information that it stores inside of its local storage. And let's try to explore these informations. One of the first information that we can notice over here is the dark mode application of this, the dark mode setting of this application. You can see that currently on this game we are not on dark mode, so the value for dark mode here is false. But let's see if we were to switch to dark mode, what would happen to that key value pair. If we switch to dark mode, you can see that already it changes to true. And if we switch back to light mode, you can see that the value changes to false. So this is where the display settings of this game are actually put or located. Because why would you need to store a simple setting like that on your database? It feels like a waste of time. And so there are a couple of settings here that are also put in. One of the things that are put in over here is your what you put inside of the board. So let's try and type in maybe a word inside of this board. I'm going to type in the word great like this. And if we put great like this, and if we go back to our local storage, you can see that they already have that word inside of the local storage. So if we put in one more word over here, we can just say boots like this. You can see that on the local storage is updated to include that extra word that we've put in there. So if we were to refresh this, the reason why we actually have the local storage is that if we were to refresh this, we can still get those particular words that we had previously. And if we were to maybe cancel this, let me just copy the URL. And if we were to cancel this and then open it up again, you can see that we still have those two words that we typed in there. So if that's not cool, I don't know what that is. So I think this is a very compelling argument to encourage you to start using local storage as much as you can. So let me show you how to actually use local storage. Before you get into that, first I'm going to open up one of the recent projects that we did. In this project, I simply showed you how to send an email from your front end to your back end into somebody's email box or inbox, if you can say it like that. So you can see that all we need to do is just to put the person's email over here and put the subject and put in like a message over there. That's all we need to do. So what we're going to do is that we're going to take all this information, the email, the subject, and the message itself, and we're going to store it inside of our local storage. I'm going to show you how to do it. So be sure to open up that project if you have it. Luckily we have it. Now we're going to go to, let's just get rid of this. I'm going to go to our contact form. I'm going to go to our contact form. This is whereby we're capturing that information. You can see that every time we set the email and every time we set the subject and every time we set our messages, what we actually need to do is that we need to find a way to like store that information inside of our local storage. Or what we can do is that every time we actually send in our email, then we need to store those pieces of information inside of our local storage. And it's very simple. All you just need to do is just say localStorage.setItem. So inside of this, you're going to give it takes in two parameters. The first parameter is the key, and then the second parameter is the actual string or the actual value that you're trying to store inside of that. So I'm going to just actually take this and put this in here so that we don't store empty values. So I'm just going to say localStorage.setItem. And I'm going to first start off with the email. And then I'm just going to say recipient email, And then I'm also going to store the subject, set item. So I'm just going to put in the subject in here as well. And then after that, I'm also going to put in the message. So message. And then we're done. So what we expect to happen is that every time we click that send message button, then what's going to happen is that it's going to store these values inside of our local storage. So I already put in my email, put in my subject over here, and then just checking if this local storage thing actually works. Right, and I need to just click submit. Alright, I'm expecting that message sent successfully. Now let's go to applications so that we can actually check if those key values were stored inside of our local storage. Alright, so there's our local storage. Let's go into our local storage, and there you go. You can see our subject, and you can even see our message as well. You can see our email is in there as well. So if we were to refresh this, you could see that it's still in there. So what I'm going to do is that you can see that if we refresh this, this disappears, it goes away. What I'm going to do is that I'm going to make the default over here on subject and on message to be these values that we've stored over here. So we're actually going to use a get item in the local storage in order to do that. So let's just go to the state, and inside of the state, what we're going to do is we're going to say localStorage.getItem and get the respective item that is related to that state. So you can just say localStorage.getItem, and then here we want the subject. And then in here we do the same thing, localStorage.getItem. We want the message here. We're not done. What we need to do is that we need to set these states as the actual values for our input. So we start off with the email over here. We're just going to say value equal to recipient email, like that. Let me see if I've typed that correctly. Yes, recipient email. And then over here we do the same thing. We say value is equals to subject, and then we go on to the text area as well, and we say value is equals to the message, like that. And we press enter, we save, sorry, then we go back to our project, and as you can see that now our default value is actually those values that we've stored inside of our local storage. And if we were to change this, maybe let's say hello world email at email123.com, just checking if this subject sticks. Alright, it does. Hopefully y'all subscribe. There we go. And all we have to do now is actually press, just this up a bit, actually press send message. Alright, and then it says message sent successfully. So that means that, as you can see, that our local storage states have actually changed. So now if we were to refresh this, you can see that the defaults also change as well. So there is a way to actually get rid of this. You can actually delete these key value pairs from your local storage. And what you need to do in order to do that is maybe we can implement a button that deletes every single part of our storage. How about that? Yeah, maybe a similar button, and we can call it, we can just say delete email. Delete email, like that. And on the on click, we just say local storage dot remove item, sorry, and then we actually put in the email aspect of that. So it's just say remove item. So every time we press this, the email is going to be deleted. So that's what we expect actually. So let's go back to our application, refresh again. There's our button over there. Let me just pick this up a bit so that you can see it. So now what we expect to happen is that if we press delete, then that key value pair gets deleted, and as you can see, it is deleted. And if we were to refresh, you're going to see that this is going to be blank. This is going to be blank, as you can see, because we don't have that key value pair inside of our local storage. So I've shown you how to set your items inside of your local storage. I've shown you how to get your items from your local storage, and I've shown you how to actually remove your items from your local storage. So these are the key elements that you're actually going to use when you're dealing with local storage. Now, I should say, if you want to clear up everything inside of the local storage, you can just simply come here and just say .clear, like that. And if we go back to our application and we press, maybe let's just delete all, and then go back to our application, click delete all, you can see that all our key value pairs have been deleted. Alright, cool. So it's very important for you to actually explore the usage of local storage. It makes things a lot easier. You don't have to put things inside of your database. That's going to take a bit of time, but with the local storage you can just simply put in information that can be publicly known, because as you can see that we have access to that information. So you don't want to put in somebody's password over here unless maybe it's encrypted, but I would suggest that you don't. It speeds things up if you can put random information that you're going to need, maybe probably while you're 2 minutes into exploring a web application. Then it would be really good. It really optimizes your application in that sense. So probably in one of our next videos, I'm going to teach you session storage and how to use cookies as well. It's all part of the same thing, but yeah, I'm going to show you how to use it. So thank you so much for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, please make sure that you like the video. And if you haven't subscribed, please do subscribe. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments section. I respond to as many questions as I can, so be sure to leave your comments. I really appreciate reading your comments. Other than that, thank you so much for watching. I will see you next time on Coding 101.